Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're taking a clip that we did from the latest podcast we recorded. It's about the Super League. It's been forgotten about, but we're bringing it back. Make sure to like the video, leave a comment down below, and turn on your notifications. Boom! Let's talk about some other corruption.
What other corruption you got on your mind?
Something that has been forgot about.
What's that?
Already, and that's the Super League in
Jesus,
football.
I forgot about that myself. I forgot that we
Saying that
didn't get us started on the Super League. Honest, I'm going to go on a massive rant again here.
It's just the Super League has been totally forgotten about. It's been forgotten about in terms of people are just now back to supporting the clubs. I know there was protests and stuff, but they've all stopped now. I'd imagine I don't see any more protests. It's just back to hoping for the best of the clubs. Even their own fans have just from my eyes, sort of just it. And I sort of get it. They're just accepting it is what it is. They're waiting to see what the punishment is. But because there's this is the biggest thing that was going to destroy the 150 years of leagues in this country and other countries. Total disregard for clubs, lower league clubs, grassroots,
history,
everything,
fans,
for literally the greed of 15 clubs or whatever it is. It's the hundreds of millions.
Yeah, but they've apologised.
Oh well, they sort of apologised.
They've apologised, so that's all right.
Some of them. I mean, I still think Juventus, Barca and Real are actually, they're the three teams left in it saying it's not over yet sort of thing. But I think Juventus have been, basically the Serie A have said you're going to be chucked out of the league if you're still in it by next season. That's what they've actually said. You're going to not be in Serie A. So they're out. The full thing's just going to go. But the likelihood is, I seriously think, is just going to be a fine for each of them. That's going to be the be-all and end-all for something, for these owners and all the executives who are all part of this sly thing, building it up for years, to totally abandon every other club is just going to be forgotten about with a fine. That's the likelihood. There's going to be no point deductions, there's going to be no relegations, there's going to be no huge thing which is, you can't get a big enough punishment in my eyes for what they've done. It's just greed, you know what I mean?
Because you're getting there.
It's just greed. It's just greed. It's hundreds of millions they're looking for to instead of their clubs like Man U being $1 billion
enterprise.
Club, they won $5 billion, and then they were do you know what I mean? These owners, it's
and then hang on a second though. Then they're just going to walk away.
That's in a
and
few
think,
years.
I've made $5 billion.
Yep, I don't
care about the club. It's
turn
someone
it into
else's problem
franchise.
now. Someone else's problem.
But that what's going to be these? I remember Gary Neville was huge. I'm sure all the football fans seen Neville and they were so strongly opinionated, which is right. And it was good to see that they're not going to hold their true opinion back, which often people do on TV. They're not very opinionated.
Let's be honest, it was needed.
It was needed, and he was saying straight away, and Carragher was saying, these are these people have played for these clubs and been a big part of their history. Neville and Carragher for Liverpool and Man U, and the supporters of Jimmy Carragher, Scouser, supporter of that club for life, and he's saying I'm ashamed. These should be relegated. At least these should be take away. I mean, they were all who were in the Champions League at that time? Chelsea,
Madrid.
They were saying stop. They should all be chucked, and they should all be relegated, all of them, which is right. But none of that's going to happen. None. It's gone. But the season's going to end. Nobody's going to the Super League thing will not be mentioned again on TV. They'll not be having these discussions anymore. It's gone, and they'll probably, they'll probably come out a couple months after this is the way I see it, and they'll be we'll find each of them 400, 500 grand or whatever.
Well, in that case, it was worth the risk for 500 grand
fine.
Well, that's
they're just getting off free, completely
Listen, right,
free.
It's unacceptable. There's There's no excuse. I don't care how much you love your club. If you're a Man City supporter, a Liverpool supporter, up here in Newcastle, if our club did that, right? A bit offended that we're not being included.
Yeah.
But if our club did that, there'd be riots. Like there has been. Yeah. I know there has been, right? But it's unacceptable by the owners. I mean, we up here, we didn't like the owner of our club anyway, right? But it's unforgivable. You cannot continue to run that club, in my eyes. As a fan, you should not be given any right to make a decision going forwards on behalf of that club, in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what every fan thinks. We do not want you making any decisions of our club. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Again, going forwards. Mm-hmm. Because that was the biggest mistake you've ever made.
Yep.
You've ever made and will ever happen.
Yep. And when it all started to go head over heel for them, and you could just imagine them all thinking, "Oh crap,
this hasn't went down how we expected it."
Oh nah, this isn't going on, and now we're knackered. Like, do you know what I mean? Because they would have been thinking, God, we could be relegated. Yeah, this is...
The owners were thinking, we need to move country. Mm-hmm. That's what they were thinking.
Yep,
because we're going to get absolutely obliterated if we're anywhere near this football club. But, like you say, all I can see happening, like you say, is a fine. And that's not good enough.
It's nowhere
near good enough.
And it's not going to be a 50 million fine. It's probably not even going to be $1 million.
If it was a £50 million fine, it's still
nowhere near.
It's still not enough.
Nowhere near. I agree.
100 million's not enough. 500 million is not enough for Man City and Barcelona.
I agree.
These clubs, right? Yeah. In fact, not the clubs. These owners should be punished.
Yep.
Not the club.
Yep.
The club shouldn't be punished. However, the club is part of it.
The club, well, that's the thing.
And they own the club.
So that's how you're going to, that's the way you...
The only way you punish the owner is by punishing the club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? That's the only way it can happen. So unfortunately, as much as I don't want to say, for fans and stuff like that, if it was Newcastle, you punish the club.
Yeah.
Right? You punish the club because that's the only way you get rid of the owners and you hurt the owners.
Yes.
Right? So, in my opinion, fining the club and the owners, the money to them's, it's probably, obviously it's going to hurt them a bit, but it's not going to stop them. It's not going to stop anybody trying to do something like this in the future.
Yeah.
Right? What you need to do is, like you say, Premier League season, Man City at the top, gone.
Yeah, gone.
You have just been removed from this season. Guess what? You're not getting any money off any tournament you've competed in this year. Yeah. Right? You're gone. Mm-hmm. Out the league. The league's finished. Oh, you think you've won the league? Mm-hmm. No, you haven't.
Yep.
Man United, whoever else was involved, Chelsea, all the rest of them, just remove them from the Premier League at the end of this season.
Yep.
Take away anything that they've won.
Yep.
So they can say they've won it, but in writing, in history, this season they haven't won a thing.
Yep.
And relegate them, get them out of the Premier League because they didn't want to be in it.
Yep,
in
that's
the
first
place.
They want it in their ideal world.
They're not allowed to play in the Champions League, even if they get back into the Premiership. They should be banned for about 5 years.
Yeah,
right.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So the players at the club will know that even if they play the best and they get back in the Premiership, they're still not going to be in the Champions League. I can't go on to express how severe the punishment should be for these teams. Because it's unforgivable, Redpath. You cannot do something like that.
Yeah.
The owners cannot do something like that. And the only way to punish the owners of these big clubs is to punish the club.
Yeah. I mean, these clubs are like just money machines.
Redpath, man. Chelsea were going into this Super League.
Yeah.
They've just got beat off Leicester.
Yeah.
Who are one of the top teams in the Premier League. But Leicester weren't included in the Super League.
Leicester weren't.
Do you know what I mean?
Even though they've been better than Arsenal and the likes of Tottenham the past 5 years.
Because they're not the biggest money club. Now we didn't want you in here. It's basically creating the 1% of football and saying we're going to control who we want in our league and who gets the money.
Yep.
All the big clubs are going to control. But we're going to create money for lower division teams. Yeah, you are. But at your request, you have that power,
Yeah.
you're going to say, oh, we'll trickle a few million down
Yeah.
into that league, and we'll trickle a few million into that club.
Yeah.
Oh, that club looks like they're getting a bit rich. In fact, you know what? Well, you come into this league for a season. Do you know what I mean? And it just takes away, all excitement out of the sport.
They were basically thrown under the bus the whole everything competition, like the whole pyramid.
They basically went Champions League. Nah, out.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. We're not bothered. We're in the final. We didn't care. We're not bothered with Champions
League. And the
League.
reason why it won't happen though again is, well, firstly, Gary Neville brought up something. He'd been working. He said on TV when this whole thing came about, which I'm sure people seen. He's been working at over the past year. I think he said with people to sort of come up with a sort of ruling, to stop things like this happening.
Yeah.
Because he could sort of seeing what could potentially happen, like a body that stops this.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't one in place, which is why it's went ahead slyly in the background for at least over a year.
Years.
Do you know what I mean? Probably a couple of years, of properly trying to come up with a league and get it all sorted, which they all agreed on, which is just crazy. But the reason why we won't see it is it comes down to money again. They know if they get rid of the top revenue teams, the Premier League doesn't make anywhere near as much money. Do you know what I mean? Then if the top 20 teams aren't allowed in the Champions League, and the Champions League's full of teams like Aston Villa and Newcastle, or for instance, they're going to miss out on hundreds of millions again from worldwide viewing and all the fan base. It's just.
But that is correct. That is obviously why it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But give them teams a chance. Do you know what I mean? It gives them teams a chance. Like you say, Aston Villa and that.
Yeah.
They're big clubs in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
They're not big clubs worldwide, but it gives. Let's have a new 6 teams in the Champions League for a couple of years. Give the prize money alone that they'll make off being there and travelling and doing these. I was going to say fighting, playing against these other teams is going to be good for the clubs. It's only going to be good for the Premier League. It's going to make it even more competitive than it is now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When these big clubs come back.
Yeah.
And it's going to make things a little bit more, where, say, Leicester, for instance, they could potentially win the Champions League. Well, they could have probably anyway if they get into the Champions League. The team that they are, they've always got that chance, haven't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, give these teams a shot. Give them. Let's forget about the big clubs for a year. Do you know what I mean? Take a hit. The EA and FA and all the rest of it. Take a hit for a year. Punish them.
I wish it was
that easy.
That easy, because when if let's say there were, for instance, you're talking these clubs have the majority of football fan base in the world. So compare to the top 10, 20 teams in the 15 clubs in the world. What was it? I think it was 12 or something, or 15. These have the fan base of the world. Do you know what I mean? And them Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man U have just millions upon millions of fans worldwide. Do you know what I mean? So
let's just talk about this fan thing, right? Because I heard, I'm not sure how true this is, but I heard that when they made the Super League, the idea was they were going to take it to Asia.
There was
that side of the world.
They were going to be playing it different around the world. Yeah, so they were going to target Asia for one.
Not only are you insulting the club's history, the players, the fans, any staff members that have got jobs there and work at the stadium, and completely disregarding all of that, you're then saying, that your home matches that you're having, sorry, but you're only going to have certain amounts of them this year. And, when you're playing Man City, or you've got Man City against Man U, it's not going to be in one of them stadiums. It's going to be in China.
Yep. Yep.
If I'm a fan, I'm going to be taking the piss.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, bloody hell. Well,
I kind of can't see the local derby.
Yep. Thing that has so much
I have to watch it on the bloody telly. But some neutral fan, well, I'm saying neutral, but do you know what I mean? A neutral, you would assume that over there, obviously, there might be people from this area who are over there, but who generally aren't from this area.
Yeah.
But love football, we're going to class them as a neutral.
Yeah.
Who support a club but they're not from here. We'll class them as neutrals, right? No, I hope nobody takes offence to that. Yeah. They are going to get priority over the city of that club. Mm-hmm. It's not right, is it? Like, it doesn't make
it's not right. No, but I think the idea was, I think it was one of the pundits said, and the idea was in terms of going to Asia and stuff, it's they're basically thinking it's sort of like an untapped market.
Well, it is. That's exactly
so
what
like
it is.
In Europe, across like the main countries, like your Spain's, Italy's, and it's like they've got everything out of it. That's like they can't get any more out of it. So
and there's
like,
10 times
there's
more
10
people
times
over there.
more people in Asia. So like these clubs, when they get huge and turn them into like franchises, because it's the same teams. It's sort of like basketball. It's the same teams. Play. There's no competition. There's no, oh well, you're going through a bad few years and it's not relegated. You're going to get relegated, and your club could go like from Premier League and all of a sudden be in League 2 in a few years.
Great example of that is like Leeds.
Leeds
went from Premier League.
Look at the Sunderland down to League 1.
Went all the way down to pretty much League 3, wasn't it? I think
I'm not sure what they were in.
Nearly at the conference, and it's took them 10 years or plus to get back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What an achievement!
That's what football's about, though. That's what it's about.
Uh-huh.
It's about
giving the lower clubs opportunities, like Accrington Stanley playing Man City in the
thing
FA
is,
Cup.
you can't take away competition. That's what these teams that were going to be in as well. Like for instance, Tottenham haven't won the league and like they haven't won a cup in ages. Do you know what I mean? Like Arsenal been crap the past 10 years. Like, but these teams are in it forever. No, if that league went ahead, these could, so they could end up being 20th in the Premier League,
still be in the Super League.
Still be in the Super League, making all the money because they're playing Barcelona
Division
and
1 could be in Division 1.
It's just like
it's crazy.
And these owners were thinking, if we tap this market and we know it's going to be a huge success for at least the good 5 years, because people would get sick of it eventually, wouldn't like it, I think, but for 5 years, everybody still wants to see it. At the end of the day, they're gonna if it's there, they're gonna watch Barca Villarreal. It's gonna, and if they tap that money and get the Asian market, which is like the majority of the world, into it and paying for it and etc., like they're gonna turn in from Man U being worth $1 billion to $5 billion within and then if they just sell, say in 3-4 years time, and they've made $5 billion, they're thinking that's a great business choice. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like, because like you can see like from a business, because that's what football's became. That's a problem with the amount of money. It's like a money thing. It's like when decades ago it wasn't really like that. Now there's so much money in it. It is like, which I understand, it's like a business, which is a good business move for them. They make $5 billion in 5 years, like champion. But there has to be something in place now, especially to stop that.
I think we talked about this when it first came to light, was that, is it Bayern Munich that have a system where the fans have a say? So the owner can make a decision, but then the fans have to agree. Certain amount of the fans have to agree before something's done.
Yeah.
Great.
They're like on the board, basically.
Basically, that is like a great way to control the club. It's not perfect, but it's a start, and all clubs should be like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It gives power to the fans, to the people who are supporting, whereas like at the minute, most clubs they can do what they want.
Yeah.
They can make decisions, they can change things, they can alter things, they can alter history. Do you know what I mean? I know like there was uproar when Mike Ashley wanted to change the name of St James's Park.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and at the moment, there's no control of that.
Yeah.
To the fans or to the people who have spent years of their life, like, you know, being brought up, creating it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Decades of people, of generations of people, footballers and fans have created that stadium, that area. And then one guy just walks in because he's got a few quid.
He's got the ownership. And
I want to change this. I don't like that. I don't care about your history. This is the way I want it. And there's no stopping them.
Yeah.
Same money talks. And bloody does, I tell you that at times, doesn't it?
It does.
In fact, we're seeing a trend here, aren't we, with sports in general, that it's going more towards being like politics than actually being enjoyable, or like you already know what's happening, why it's happening, yet nobody has to take accountability. Again, nobody has to answer for any of the decisions that they've made.
Which is the thing that has to change. Isn't it? It's the thing that has to change. There has to be ruling over the people that are in charge of things like that.
Mm-hmm. But the only thing is, right, is that when something happens like that, it just becomes corrupt again. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like there'll be somebody above them, right? But then there's no saying that that's not going to be corrupt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That just goes on and on. And no matter how many good measures you put in place, it only takes one corrupt, silly sausage to tear that apart. Yep. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
One corrupt person gets in charge, then his corrupt pal's in charge, he's given these guys, his mates, jobs, and then all of a sudden your thing you've created is illegitimate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? This is the problem. It'll be good for a certain amount of time, but then they'll have to windle a way around it because they'll want to change something, or they'll want it to work in their favour. And it all comes back to money. And that's the way the world's going, unfortunately, Redpath.
Yep.
And it's affecting not only the sports, but, you know, everybody else that's involved. Immediately involved, and the fans and stuff like that. But we'll have to see what happens with the punishments for the Super League. Hopefully they come down on them with Thor's hammer.
Yep.
And absolutely tear them into pieces.
Yeah,
I don't think the punishment that they're going to give them is going to be severe enough.
Nope. Almost guaranteed it. You can almost guarantee it's not. It's not going to be.
It's not going to be. In my opinion, like you said, they need to be relegated. A fine's not big enough. Something needs to happen where.
I think that's what's going to hurt them the most if they get because then they're missing out on the hundreds of millions that you get from the TV and the Premier and the not being in Champions League, and
players aren't going to want to be
there
there
anymore.
I mean?
Like,
they need to suffer more than that.
They're going to, like, if they relegate.
That's what I mean, right? Think about this, because it's so good. Like, if that happens, think about all the good players at Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal. Yeah, all of a sudden they're thinking, I want to play for a good club here, right, for the next few years. Leicester's got a good team. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Now it starts getting to these.
But
these are the names.
Man City can't afford to pay us 200,000 a week
but
now.
Leicester can afford to give us 180 grand.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep, when Man City are now down to 50 grand, like, because they're going to be, you know what I mean? Like,
that's
that's what's going to hurt the owners. That's what's going to hurt the owners.
These other teams get an opportunity. We've got Sterling playing for now. We've got Kane playing for.
And the only way you're going to hurt the owners as well is taking money, because that's what they're bothered about. Is getting, if it's not taking it, or like, say, fine them 100 million.
Not a fine. A fine's not enough.
It's letting their bank, because they're not bothered if they get labelled a bad owner. They're not. If it's not affecting them, they couldn't give a monkeys.
You've got to hurt the business, which is the club. Take the players away from them.
And I'm sure all the fans, at least 9 out of 10 fans, agree. Do it. You're talking like Gary Neville saying, "I'm ashamed. They should be wiped out the league."
If it was Newcastle, I'd be saying exactly the same thing.
100%.
Because it doesn't matter what club it is. It's the fact that this cannot happen again. This cannot happen. And you have to make a statement. Otherwise, guess what? It's going to happen again. You know, if a club, because I'm sure Liverpool basically left UEFA or something, didn't they?
There's something like that.
If you leave UEFA, there's no just coming back in. If you leave UEFA, you're gone forever. Do not even think about coming back.
Should be.
There has to be a severe punishment. You cannot just walk away and be, "Oh, we didn't realise that was going to happen. Well, we're all Liverpool and would bring this to the table." I don't even fucking care. That's what they should be saying. You could be Real Madrid, Barcelona for all I care. You've done it. You've made your choice. Stick to it. Go and play Super League football with bloody the other clubs. That's how they're. I tell you what though, you can be in the Premiership, but even if you win the league, you're still not going to be in the Champions League. You're never going to qualify for Europe. And do you know what I mean? Like, just put ridiculous things on them. for 5 years or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And make a point.
Yeah, you got to
embarrass
make a point.
them.
You've got to make a
Make
point.
the players think, well, hang on a second, because it's not the players' fault.
It's not the players' fault, I agree.
But put them in a position where they think, we don't want to be associated with this team for now. Do you know what I mean? This is going to affect not only the club, it's affecting the players' ability to play in matches they want to play in. It's affecting that, you know, say for instance that they do get a ban for 5 years, they can't play in the FA Cup, they might not win that FA Cup, they might only have 3 years left in their career, they want to end it playing at the top thingies. You know what I mean? It puts all these questions in the players' heads, and that's what you need to do. Some of the players need to take decision and say, right, yeah, no, you're right, this is what needs to happen. And once one does it, the rest will follow.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's crazy though, right? Like how, just in general, like this was like called, I think when this was like shown to the world, this like plan. This is like the biggest thing in football history potentially that was going to happen. It was going to change the full of how football works, forever, like done.
Going forward.
Everything they built over the past 100 odd years.
They just crumbled it up and threw it in the bin.
No, the whole pyramid scheme, the whole competition about going up and what a team can achieve, the potential, the unlimited potential where a team can go.
The Champions League, the best stage you can
this is all going to go, and it's funny just how everybody's just forgot about it. Like it was. I get even when it was like going through the stage where it looks like it's not going to happen. People were bothered about it for like a week, and then it sort of filtered out. And then after a couple of weeks, it was like, oh, it's not going ahead now. Oh, it's all right. Like
no,
just in general, it's like, for instance, people aren't talking about it in the pub now. It's not like they would have for that week. Like, oh fuck, they can't do that. They can't. But now it's like.
So here we are, bringing it back attention,
like this,
sort it out. And if you're watching and you feel the same way, like something needs to happen for this to have an impact.
Because listen, I bet you this is what the owners would have thought, like, oh, this is going to be great. And then when it backfired, and they were like, they would have went. Every one of them would have went, oh,
that's us knackered.
Shit.
Yeah, that's us knackered.
Like, oh God, they would have been like, like Gary Neville says, he said on the TV, he says, I know the owners, because he called them cowards and stuff. He was like, I know these, when they hear this, aren't going to sleep tonight, because they would have been thinking, oh my God,
you've just basically said we're going to war with the whole football world.
Like, say, like, I've got this club with 500 mil or whatever, like, and it's all going down the drain because of a stupid decision, greed, of trying to stab everyone else involved with football in the back.
It's just, it's unbelievable that the thought they could get away with it.
Which is just like the biggest thing as
but
well.
The thing is, we're going to let them though, man.
That's the thing.
We're going to let them, and it's
because do you know why these guys did it as well, and why it could have went ahead potentially, is because they know they've got the power.
Yeah.
Because they do. They haven't got all the power, which has been shown, but they've got power where they've got. That's where the money is, and they're the owners of these clubs. And when they're all in agreement, which is why they went for it.
Yeah.
They've got power. They've got they've got the big percentage of the worldwide football fan base in them clubs. So it's
they hold all the cards.
They hold the cards, but fortunately it's backfired. But there needs to be a punishment, and that's the thing that's most annoying. It's like, yous are rich enough. Do you know? It's not as if like they're all fighting for to get the first million, and these were not like back 30 years ago. Like, these clubs are turning over hundreds of million a year already. It's like now it's just greed.
And let's be honest, the idea isn't terrible, right? Because other sports have a Super League, like the darts has the Premier League.
People have said that as well, like.
But it's the way they've went about it. They could have included this. They could have included everybody. They could have made it an open. They could have went, these are the teams that are going to start in it. But guess what? After this season, this happens and all the rest of it. But they didn't do that.
Yeah, no.
And they need to be punished for that.
And they done it.
And do you know what would be great? Is if in the future they did do that and them teams weren't included.
Yep. Yeah. Well, people have said there would be some sort of Super League in the past. They said it will be created at some point. Like, people in the past have said...
As an add-on, not to take over, though.
But not done slyly to do everybody else off, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing as well, slyly. These people have been having these meetings for like 2 years, slyly, not a word. It hasn't got out to the public, and then, bang. Oh, by the way, next season we're doing our own league. Like... No, you're not. You're not doing that.
No,
That
wasn't in the
No.
script. No. Just hang on a second.
But we hope what happens is the right thing, and that's severe punishment for them in their bank accounts.
Yep. There's only one, like I say, there's only one avenue you can really punish them at, and that's hurting the club.
And it's time for the likes of UEFA, like all these
UEFA, FA, make a stand and
show them where's the power, exactly. And you can't
we
just
have
get
the
away.
power.
Yep.
The only way to do that is by making massive punishments.
Not a slap on the wrist. This
not
can't be
fine.
A slap on the wrist.
It's just it can't happen. There's got to be big.
Because even like a 50 million fine for each
hundreds of millions. It's not enough.
A slap on the wrist for these guys.
Enough.
It's okay. It's a big chunk of like say their profit in terms of yearly for most of them. But what's the difference? The difference between that and literally losing hundreds and hundreds of millions through relegation and not getting money through the TV and all
your players.
It's like different. That's what they deserve.
That's what they deserve. Yeah.
But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that one.
Imagine the Toon would have a chance at actually getting above 18th or 17th or whatever. Jesus Christ.
Still be fighting relegation.
He'll still be fighting bloody relegation. Mike Ashley would be thinking about starting his own league on his own. With just Newcastle in. Just so they win everybody. Newcastle against Newcastle B team. Just playing themselves every week. Bloody hell, man. It's shambles, really, isn't it? But it's just, we're not talking negatively about everything today. We're just bringing things to light because there's a lot of this going on and it needs to be brought to people's attention, doesn't it? Like, if nobody talks about it, that's like everything. If you talk about it, other people will talk about it. Yep. People see it more. And it needs to be changed, and if you need something changed, you have to do something about it. So we feel like this is our part of trying to bring awareness to it, our thoughts in particular, and how we can get it changed, and hopefully somebody else then talks about it, and the ball escalates and rolls, and there we're gone. Life's good.
That's what we hope.
Whether that actually happens or not, it's a good dream.
It's a good dream.
But in the real world, I don't know how far we'll get with that dream. But we'll give it a shot.
Yep.
We'll do our bit. It's up to you guys now. We've left it in your hands. So the only thing you can do
message.
Sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing.
Yep.
It all actually does help in this matter.
It does, yep.
We're getting a bit excited, aren't we, about stuff and all like that.
Passion. Passion's coming out.
That's what football and sports and everything like that's about, innit, really? Anything you do should be about passion.
That's correct.